I'm gonna talk about we're all gonna have different perspectives, but I'm gonna talk about try to look at the way I look at it is he was a great martial artist and a great philosopher, but he was an actor.
Correct.
I've never seen Bruce in a real fight. Now I guarantee he could fight.
Sure,
but people talk about him like those scenes are real. Like,
there was a handful of,
but that's just a testament to his acting, right?
Absolutely.
He was so believable, so realistic on the screen that people are like, he has to be that good in real life.
Well, he took physical fitness seriously because no one was looking like that.
There are a handful of clips that you could see where he did like demonstrations and things like that, and his speed was ridiculous.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so like the whole thing of them having to like slow the camera down to catch what he was doing, at least in the little clips that I saw, looked legitimate because they were showing it slowed down. Like he would feint, and before the person was even fully reacting to the feint, he was throwing the second punch to hit the person, and they're still moving to react to the feint. We're like, Jesus, you were so far behind on what he was doing.
I know he was like Quentin Tarantino touched on it, like when he did the movie with Brad Pitt.
Once Upon a Time.
Also, by the way, fuck Quentin Tarantino for that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, apparently,
I'm on the side of the Bruce Lee family.
But supposedly there was stories in
There's
Hollywood
truth to it.
in the stuntman community that Bruce Lee used to hurt stuntmen.
Right.
Like he would kick the shit out.
He would connect when he wasn't supposed
They
to.
also say that about Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I believe
There's a bunch of people that have been hit by Jean. They're like, that motherfucker really just.
Okay, but now it also seems one-sided, right? Because I bet some of those stuntmen probably could use a kick in the fucking balls every now and again.
But
you know what I mean?
The story behind the whole thing with Bruce Lee, there is a legitimate story of where something like that happened, and it was the person was like an Olympic wrestler,
right?
So it wasn't like a dramatic fight. He just picked him up and fucked around with him, letting him know, like, hey, if you're within this range of me,
I can do this.
I can. And actually, that's where he went to look into some grappling stuff, which you do see him do in some of his movies later on.
Sure. Famous Hollywood stuntman and judo. He was actually in Ronda Rousey's corner a bunch of times. Gene LeBell. Everyone calls him Gene. Right? Yeah, judo Gene LeBell.
Yes.
Gene LeBell actually. The story goes. They messed around a little bit, Bruce and him, and he lit Bruce up. Like when he grabbed the hold of Bruce, like Bruce Lee. Let's face it, he's fast, he's skilled. He's 135 pounds.
Yeah,
right.
He's 135 pounds.
Sure.
Gene LeBell was at the time
a beast,
like an Olympic level judo guy for the U.S. I mean, he was balding in the middle. I mean, this friggin' dude, like he was as strong as a chimpanzee. Like when he grabbed the hold of Bruce Lee, 135 pounds was nothing. That wasn't warm-up weight.
I believe it. And you know what? Look, think about it for this.
And look at what happened. Immediately after, in the Enter the Dragon, when the opening scene, Bruce Lee's doing an armbar.
Yeah, he seemed doing jiu-jitsu.
That's what I'm
incorporated it.
Yeah.
He incorporated it.
Like, think about the first time we got into, like, the mats to train jiu-jitsu. It was like, holy shit, this is a completely different beast.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what? Let's start the podcast.
We are recording, right?
Oh, we are.
Okay, good. So that's all going to make it in.
Welcome to the Sofa Kingdom podcast with your host, Nelson.
Ian.
Ed.
As you can see, we're already diving deep into the martial arts because this is something that we all feel deeply in our souls, in our hearts, as fighters, as enthusiasts.
We're as passionate as you are about it.
That's right. Yes. Or as passionate as he is about kittens and kitten videos.
Who doesn't like kittens?
Good question. He makes a good argument. He makes a very good argument. He makes a really solid argument.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You're right.
But that goes to show, like, just the way Bruce incorporated that, it goes to show you that's even like if you his book and his style that he came up with, Jeet Kune Do, is the way of the intercepting fist, and his whole philosophy is have no way is way and no limitation is limitation. Take what, like what Ed said. Take what works, adopt it. Take what doesn't work.
Or as he so eloquently put, be water, my friend. Be water.
Water can flow or it can crack.
It was a very individualistic style, the idea of learning as much as you could from as many sources as available and using what worked for you. Right. So there was more aspects of not just taking in everything and he was picking and choosing. It was the idea was for you to take in everything and pick and choose for you
what's best for you.
And that's a difficult thing in the world of martial arts, because there's instructors out there that are like, nah, like if you cross train or you go we still see that today.
Oh yeah,
especially in
live and die by your teacher and what they're teaching.
Yep.
Well, I think it's all across the board, especially back then with martial arts.
Oh yeah,
it was just like my Wing Chun is better than your Wing Chun. You know, like in all the movies, that dojo storming was a real thing.
A real thing.
Yeah.
And they probably took it really seriously back in the day in China. They pulled up. Yeah. They pulled up to kill your ass. You know, it was Southern Crane against Northern Mantis. You didn't know your shit, you were done.
Yeah, I'm all about that Southern Crane though.
Yeah.
Florida.
All about that.
Northern Wolverine. Northern Wolverine. Yeah.
And originally, especially when talking about out of the Asian areas, some of the martial arts, it was the elite that would get to learn. It was the samurais. It was the upper echelon and the fighters, the people that actually had the time to spend. Like, there was other forms of fighting and wrestling and things like that, and there always has been. But the more traditional that we know now was really more for the upper class, the people that had the time to actually learn.
That is a very unknown fact. Like 95% of samurai, you were born a samurai. Like there were 5%. Like, as a lower class person, someone born into the peasantry, you could work your way up or do some kind of prove yourself militarily or whatever. It was damn near impossible to break into that.
It was like
you were born samurai.
It was like in the Europe, if you were a knight, you were born into it. It was very rare for someone who wasn't part of nobility to be able to be allowed to move up.
I think a lot of it is because of what happened with Lancelot in the Round Table. Like, they brought somebody in,
Look what
stole
happened.
the king's girl.
He starts tagging. Guinevere. He starts slapping Guinevere's cheeks around. You can't do that. Arthur was like, hell no. Now you're born into it. Now you're born into this shit.
I decree born into it.
Yes. Lancelot was the first fuckboy.
Yeah, man. God damn it.
Documented.
Fucked it up for everybody else.
Well, no, actually, a fun fact. I looked up a while ago how much a suit of armor would cost. Like, if you did inflation from the Middle Ages to now.
Right.
Like, we couldn't even afford plate mail. Like, basic plate mail, just to get covered in it. It was like it's $168,000 in today's income.
God, yeah,
damn.
It's
so
absurd.
We couldn't even afford to wear it. We'd be wearing boiled leather out there, getting arrows shot at us. You know,
I'd be wearing Mandalorian armor, sir.
We couldn't afford to be a knight.
I would 3D print some Beskar and hop out there with the best of them.
Yeah, I think the most common armor was actually it was cloth. And if you were lucky, leather, but it would be multiple layers of cloth. Same way
woven Kevlar.
Same way Kevlar works with several layers. They would do the same thing with heavy hemp and cotton. And it's what you see in a lot of fantasy games, the studded. That's not actually what it was called. I forget the name at the moment. But the studs would hold on small plates on the inside that would cover your vital areas, much like a bulletproof vest, where it wraps around you all the way, but then the plates are in strategic areas.
All right. Okay.
Cool. I won't lie. I've always been interested in, like, actually going to a school and learning, like, Bushido. Yeah. Or, like, sword fighting. I know it's not practical. Don't fucking look at me like that.
It is if you carry a sword with you.
Goddamn right. Yes.
There's a handful of proper places still floating around in Japan where it's like the last generation of ninjas, and there's a handful of samurais left over.
That's
and
dope.
They do have the schools.
I'm sure
they do allow you to come in and learn to sign up and train, because they're trying to.
I'm sure you could find it here, but you'd probably walk in. It's like a fat guy with a ponytail. There's no one else in there but him.
I've actually looked it up. There is a place in Boca.
Oh, great. Yeah. The legendary samurai of Boca Raton.
They turned me away. I showed up over there, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, no man bun. You gotta go." I'm like, "Come on, guys, I'll glue one on."
I'll tell you what. I'll check them out.
You're shooting.
Yeah. I'll check them out.
Eddie, not in a lifetime. No. No.
I'll go undercover for you guys.
Undercover.
We'll find out how legit this sword plays. But no, martial arts, it can be like. It could be anything. I mean, it used to be anything related to the military. So, I mean, horseback riding, archery, fencing, any kind of weapon play is considered a martial art.
And that was a weird conversation that me and Nelson had earlier, because at least in my head, when I always thought of martial arts, I always thought of hand-to-hand.
Right.
And we were looking at some stuff, and lists pop up, and you're like, there's all these samurais and this and that. You're like, yeah, I guess that is also martial arts. Sure. That's not what I was traditionally thinking of. In my head, it was all of the hand-to-hand stuff, but most of the hand-to-hand stuff was to be able to fight someone who had a weapon.
Right, and they factor in skills. And like, if you look at like those like, there's still videos to this day, like the Mongolian people, how closely they are linked to horses. Like the sports of their country, how important the cavalry was back in the days of the Khan, when they were conquering the steppes. Like if you see a Mongolian archer today hang off the side of a horse, hang off it and shoot an arrow and hit a target, that's a skill.
Yeah,
that's a martial art.
The other day at Publix, I was like, damn.
Really? Through the parking lot?
Like, still conquering shit.
The Mongolians of Loxahatchee.
The Who's floating around in Florida? That what's going on?
Yep. The Who has a concert.
Yeah. The Mongolian metal band?
They're playing at the West Palm Amphitheater.
But you're right, and that makes sense. Like, it's weapons, it's hand-to-hand combat, and they're studied, practiced skills, right? Because not everybody's going to be, like, the best boxer or the best grappler, or some people are just more proficient with weapons or other things. So I think it's dope. And for me, when you start thinking about, like, proficient in a lot of things, I go to Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan, for me, is, like, the martial artist.
You never fight Jackie Chan in a tool show.
No, man. No, fuck that.
If that man can get a ladder, he can't be stopped.
Chair, a table, it doesn't matter. Any inanimate object, it becomes
Don't get him drunk either. Don't get him drunk.
He has a tremendous body of work as far as, like, Drunken Master to Rumble in the Bronx, Rush Hour, and he embodies the martial artist. In and off the camera. Like, he's one of those people that are notably a very nice guy.
Yeah.
He has a good sense of humor about him. And I think when I think of the Drunken Master, it was like, there's nobody else. Like, I've seen other people do it, and like, hey, fucking Jackie Chan.
Yeah, there's someone in a Jean-Claude movie that does drunk. It's not as entertaining as
Jean-Claude is
Jackie
just drunk.
Chan.
He's not a master. Big difference. Big difference.
That is a big difference.
No disrespect to JCVD. He is on my list. Jean-Claude Van Damme is one of, like, if we're talking, okay, since we're touching on this, if we're talking on actors, absolutely, I would put Jackie Chan is on my list as well.
Yes.
Not because, he's a comedic genius.
100%.
He can be serious. He can be funny. And his stuff in the movies is legit.
Oh,
he does his own stunts, for Christ's sake. He's destroyed his body.
He's broken a leg. I think it was in Rumble in the Bronx.
Yeah.
He jumped across to a fire escape, broke his leg, and still finished the fucking movie.
On my list of greatest martial arts.
He had a cast on, and then he got something to cover it to look like the shoes he was wearing to keep filming.
Talk about the spirit of a martial artist, right?
And LeBron James can't get off the court.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and motherfuckers that play soccer, hit the floor. Geez. Red flag, yellow card, green card.
Meanwhile, Jackie Chan's dyeing his cat.
Yeah, he's dyeing his cat.
Hold on, let me jump off the building again. Like, what the hell? Like, come on. But no, Jean-Claude Van Damme, alcoholism and coke addiction aside. It was a fantastic martial artist back in the day. He was more. Now, he did a couple karate matches and stuff. Legit. He did practice karate in France and Belgium and all that. But he was more on the acting side. He was a great gymnast. He was a good-looking dude. He could do a complete. Everyone knows the split.
Oh yeah,
jumping split kick.
Jumping split. The split.
Didn't he do a commercial?
The split on the 18-wheelers. That shit was fantastic.
Nobody else can pull that shit off.
He's got the most legendary split in the game, and
he
because of that, he was easy to market. So they started putting him in movies.
Yep.
And he's got, in my opinion, another one of the movies, Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Bloodsport, in my opinion, is one of the pinnacles of martial arts movies. I can always watch Bloodsport.
Oh yeah. Kumite?
Yeah, that song,
Kumite.
All of those,
I want to just break some ice.
All of his movies from that era were just always entertaining.
Kickboxer?
Yeah.
Yep. He played in that god-awful live-action Street Fighter movie, though. I can't.
Look.
They said he was so fucked up on the set of that they literally couldn't film it. They couldn't film it.
You probably had to be fucked up.
They couldn't find him. No, they couldn't find him. And you can look up video of, like, there's footage, part of the movie, in actual footage that got released, he's drunk.
You know what?
Guile is drunk.
He's probably like in his room throwing glass against the wall, like I played in Bloodsport.
I can't imagine what the filming for that was, because The guy that played Gomez Adams.
Yes.
Played
Bison.
Great and
cast
apparently he went 100% into the role. So you got someone who's super into the role,
right?
And then you got cocaine head over here.
Yeah, drunken Guile.
I can't imagine what it was to film that last fight scene with both of them together.
The whole fucking movie. If you play the game or even like follow the anime or the manga, anything, it was a shit show.
Yeah,
they made Blanca like the super boss. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah. He's a green, orange-haired tribal monster from the Brazilian Amazon.
Okay, so then
he's not a super boss.
And I would consider that a martial arts movie, right? There was fighting in Street Fighter.
It is.
Okay, so since we're talking about it,
it's a tragedy.
Is that movie better than the new Mortal Kombat that just came out?
No. The new Mortal Kombat is better.
As far as martial arts fighting, or in
as far as martial arts, I don't know.
Or as a whole.
That was the sound of Ian giving up on that question.
He was like, fuck.
No, because I'm seeing both of these fucking dumpster fires in my head. And I'm what's in the dumpsters before they caught on fire? Like, which one of these fucking...
I would say martial arts-wise, it's better. Acting-wise, they're probably both equally cheesy.
I cannot, as a good human being, pick the Street Fighter movie over anything. It is a flaming,
No, both of those movies go in the trash bin.
It's a clown fiesta.
Which is a better piece of shit.
It's a clown fiesta.
It's a clown fiesta.
And all the clowns have STDs. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
Street Fighter had a
check it out. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
Handful of animes of varying qualities as well.
The one movie's good.
It's in general. Even some of their games have been hits and misses. They've been a really up and down, and really riding that arcade cabinet legend of Street Fighter 2 for a
very long time. Oh yeah.
But they did not deserve that movie.
Yeah. So he touched on Bruce Lee. I touched on Jackie Chan. You had to pick someone else in Jean-Claude Van Damme as well. Who would you say? I know your hero growing up, and Steven Seagal.
Absolutely.
He even has Steven Seagal underwear.
He's phenomenal. All right. He is.
Listen, I'm going to bring this up.
He is the greatest martial artist ever. Have you seen his most recent project? You absolutely can't kill him. He is literally hard to kill.
He's hard to kill. Oh Jesus.
That's why I was going to say how martial arts goes hand in hand with science fiction, like The Matrix and Kill Bill, and anything that makes Steven Seagal look like a real fucking badass. I am sorry. No, it's not the ponytail. It's not the obvious diabetes. That motherfucker, no.
Not the misogyny.
So bad.
No.
I love when they force
domestic abuse. None of that. No.
When you watch them forcing him in Russia to do like little demonstrations, and he gets up and he throws as much of nothing into it as humanly possible. He'll be like, all right, come on, attack me. And he just swings his hand like this, and they just throw themselves on the floor.
It's amazing because like 30 years ago, it at least looked like genuine effort.
Sure.
And over the years, it has slowly gotten to the point where you feel like you're watching a McDojo movie when he's doing anything. The level of phoning it in is so fucking high. You're like, is this person? Everyone is just playing along with this man at this point.
There are like, oh my god, like.
I knew you would love Steven Seagal. I knew it.
Like there's with martial arts, and we deal with this all the time. There's something called bullshido.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that is bullshit. As an art form.
Yes.
Sadly, it goes hand in hand with martial arts. There's people that don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're out there teaching people.
Oh, yeah.
And people that don't know what they're learning eat it up. Sure. And it almost gets cult-like.
Yeah.
Steven Seagal, I believe, is an example of this. Now, when he was younger, and he has a legit rank in Aikido. Okay? I can't dispute that. He legitimately is when he was young, he had some impressive demonstrations. I'll even give him a first couple movies. All right, Hard to Kill. Fire Down Below.
Justice.
Fire Down Below was his last one. Under Siege was
Under Siege, okay, all right.
The chick that pops out of the cave.
Yeah.
Okay. But no. After a while, no.
After a while, you gotta hang it up. After a while, you gotta hang it up.
There was somewhere in between.
He believes his own lies.
Where he started doing like direct to VHS movies, and him becoming a bullshit cop. He stopped trying somewhere in there, and it's just progressed even further along as the years have gone by.
He claims to have met Morihei Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido. No, the dude was dead. Like when you were 6. Like no, you didn't meet him. But like he just like no one fact checks him.
Right.
He fucking tried to tell us that he taught Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva. The front kick that knocked out Vitor Belfort. He tried to tell him that. He tried to tell us that.
I feel that that's a legitimate claim.
I'm pretty sure they were throwing front kicks in China 300 years ago. No, Steven, you didn't. No, you didn't do that. You didn't. You probably can't even throw a front kick, Steve. Have you seen yourself? Aikido has wrist locks, not front kicks, Steve.
I don't think I've ever seen him throw a kick.
I want to fight Steven Seagal. It's a problem. I don't fucking. Like,
well, we'll set it up. You know, Steven Seagal.
Please do.
Ian would like to fight you in a legitimate, sanctioned match.
We will tag you in this. This is me, Ian Banks of Florida, challenging Steven Seagal to a fight. Any rules, open rules. I don't care the weight. No, you can eat at the buffet, Steve. There's no fucking weight class. I don't care what you come in at. Like, oh my god.
So outside of Steven Seagal, Ed,
thanks
save
for
us, save us. Yeah. Bring us back into the realm of legitimate martial arts movies.
There's your thumbnail right there.
You like.
So,
there's your thumbnail.
We could bring it back to Ip Man, Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen.
Yes, that's on my list too of actors and movies.
Yeah,
he portrays the professor of Bruce Lee.
Yes.
The series of movies they have got. I mean, I don't know how close to reality. At least story-wise,
they say that there
was some fabrication.
Yeah, there's obvious dramatization.
But he was a real guy. And Donnie Yen, I'm pulling up right now. I'm pulling up his all his accreditations and stuff. Donnie Yen is a lifelong accomplished martial artist.
Oh yeah, and he's in a lot of movies. I think
he's in a
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
He's also in the Star Wars franchise.
He is.
Okay, you know I am the Force is one with me or some shit like that that he chanted. And that was about the only thing out of Donnie Yen's career that I hated. I loved the role, the fighting, everything. I just hate that they made him repeat that stupid line over and over again. They were trying to like make him the new Jar Jar Binks, I felt like. But he's so Donnie Yen that his charisma overshadowed even the shittiest of lines.
It's hard to pick out a movie he's done that's not entertaining.
No, and flawless as well.
The martial arts he always displays in the movies there is always fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. And like one of his best fight scenes, like, and I was gonna save this for later, but was the bring the 10 men on. Yeah, he's on the mats. They're fighting for rice. He's like, I'll take 10. Give me 10. He fucks them all up. They throw the rice on the floor, and he's like, I didn't come for the rice. He's just like, I can come over here and legally kick the shit out of Japanese martial artists. Sign me up, sucker.
So Donnie Yen has trained in Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, Hapkido, Judo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Wing Chun, Tai Chi, Hung Ga, Sanshao, Karate, Wrestling, and Wushu.
Jesus.
His ranks, he's a 6th-degree black belt in Taekwondo. He's a black belt in Judo, a purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu.
All right.
Stand up. And he has numerous gold medals of the Wushu Sports Federation. So he's a legit martial artist.
So he's not only a...
Unlike Steven Seagal.
Yeah, a movie star, but he's a practiced and accomplished martial artist.
To go through that many of them, you have to keep going year after year after year.
Sure.
That's not like you got to your one black belt and you hung it up.
No.
You got to keep going. So
that's diverse too.
That is really diverse.
With that many styles under your belt, you're not really limited anywhere. I mean,
and that just shows that he loves what he does.
Yeah.
You know, that's somebody that's passionate about the fights, passionate about fighting, I should say, and his craft. Yeah. Because when you watch him in any movie, like I said before, it's flawless. Like his fight scenes are always immaculate and effortless.
Yeah,
he's always just like moving so cleanly, you know. So that's dope.
Yeah, Bruce Lee kind of just like brought everything to the limelight. Like no one did what he did
to the Western world. That is, at least.
Yes, no one did what he did with that kind of attitude on screen like that forever. Like before him, there was no, and I think that's what kind of set the stage.
Sure.
After him, they tried to recreate it.
There was so many Bruce
My name is Bruce. My name is Bruce.
Yes.
Have you seen this?
No,
oh my God. It's a parody of a guy who kind of looks like Bruce Lee. So everybody's looking at him to do like Bruce Lee style shit in the neighborhood. And it's just like, no, my name is Bruce. I'm not Bruce Lee. But it was one of those movies that came out around the time of like, I'm gonna get you, sucker, and just bad parodies.
Oh my god, which was the one? Oh my god, what the hell was that movie with the bad guy Show Enough? What the hell was that?
Oh, The Last Dragon.
Yes.
Come on, now.
That's a classic.
It's such a classic.
Yeah, that villain saved that whole damn thing. Show Enough is one of the greatest martial arts villains in the history of everything.
That movie started so many fights in my neighborhood because it started this thing like, okay, so we would play in the arcades for push-ups. That's what we would do. Like, we would put our quarters in, and if you lost, you had to do like 10, 15, 20 push-ups, And then it became, if I beat you, you got to kiss my sneakers. You got to kiss my Converse like show enough. And then motherfuckers is like, they're like, yeah, I'll take the bet. And as soon as they lose, I'm not kissing your sneakers. You got to kiss my sneakers. That's the bet. And then motherfuckers were getting into fights outside of the local arcade because of fucking show enough.
He did,
Set a new standard for winning.
Oh, yeah. But you know what's fucked up is that he overshadowed Eddie Arcadian.
Yes.
Who was the true villain of the movie with the piranha fish tank.
The Hollywood producer.
The Hollywood producer, yes, who owned arcades, and that's what made him a villain.
I used to get into fights over the movie Bloodsport because my buddy Brandon's mom looked like Bolo Young. Bad guy.
That's a hardy woman.
Chong Li. Yeah, my buddy's mom looked like Chong Li. And I used to say shit. I'd be like, coming to his house, like, hey, it's Chong Li.
Oh, no, that's so bad.
It got me in quite a few fights with him.
Oh man, I
love you, Brandon.
So.
Love you, Brandon.
Yeah.
Your mom was a dirty fighter.
No, but I would say
we haven't said anything about Jet Li yet.
Oh, yes.
No, haven't
bring him up.
Go ahead, bring him up. Yes.
I think he kind of like he was like a phase. It goes through phases. We're kind of still in the Donnie Yen era right now.
Yeah.
But Jet Li had a great career. He's also an accomplished martial artist.
Yes.
I mean, he did probably one of the best martial arts remakes ever. He remade Bruce Lee's Fist of Fury / Chinese Connection. He did Fist of Legend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. He did a lot of martial arts epics like Hero and Fearless.
Yep.
He did a lot of like hip hop themed martial
Romeo
arts
Must
movies.
Die.
Romeo Must Die.
Unleashed.
Cradle to the Grave.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
he showed us that DMX could fight.
Yeah. Where my dogs at?
I think just like in actual martial arts, there is a time frame that people can do even the movies.
Sure.
Because the ones that really commit to doing it, because like Jet Li, he's even said he's getting older. It's harder for him to do it.
Sure.
And he doesn't want to give a subpar performance.
Yeah.
So when you're actually really trying to go and sell it that hard, it takes a toll. Yeah. There's limits to how long you can do it at that level.
So here's a Jet Li question. When was the first time you guys actually seen Jet Li?
Oh, shit.
Was it Black Mask?
Nope.
No, the first time I thought I saw Jet Li. The first time I ever saw him was Lethal Weapon.
Yes.
Yeah.
When he came in that room and he said,
"Oh,
look, yeah," he took that gun apart. I was like, "Oh, you done fucked up, Mel Gibson."
He had the necklace.
Fucked up.
He had the necklace with the wire.
Yes.
And he would just
It was at that moment when I seen him in that movie.
That fight scene on that dock was raw.
It was.
That was raw.
Listen, Mel Gibson could get
a
nod of getting in there. Both of them took a beating. Him and Danny Glover.
Yeah.
You know, they went in there like Bruce Willis style. They're
Danny
Glover
fought the Predator, but he could not fight Jet Li one-on-one.
Goddamn right.
That tells you all you need to know. That tells you all you need to know.
No, but yeah, when I seen him in Lethal Weapon, I was like, oh, he's the next Bruce Lee. Like, and I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Until that movie, and then I started going back, and of course, that's when you start doing like, oh, what else was he?
He was the next martial arts star.
Oh yeah, but for
while we're paying tribute to Bruce, though,
yes,
I also want to add somebody else to the fuck you list. I'll be a little nicer.
I'll be
a little nicer to this guy just because it wasn't his fault. That it was Hollywood was racist, but I know he's dead, so I don't want to shit on the dead. But hey, fuck you a little bit, David Carradine. Like, hey, you were good in Kill Bill. You were the old assassin, whatever. But listen, how are you going to let Bruce Lee write the script for Kung Fu?
Ugh.
Write the script, pitch the idea, and the role is it's Kung Fu, and you don't cast Bruce Lee as the lead. You give it to David Carradine. Think of how much better that show would have been.
Yes. No,
but Hollywood wasn't.
How egregious is it that they made another Kung Fu, the legend continues.
Yes.
It wasn't Brandon.
There was two. There was two. There was the one with, I believe, that continued David Carradine's story.
Yeah.
And then there was another one where they actually brought Asian actors in to play them. So, they fucked up twice before they attempted the third time around.
Rest in peace, David Carradine. I'm not going to shit on the day. If you were alive, I'd still be shitting on you. But listen.
Wait, didn't he die in the hotel room with the old...
He asphyxiated himself, He was a little kinky.
A little oops with the belt.
Yeah, a little oops it is.
He was hanging out with Quentin Tarantino a little too much. But no, if you actually want to see the way it was supposed to be delivered, HBO did a really good job. There's a show, Warrior.
Okay.
They took the actual script that Bruce Lee pitched. They redid it. The whole cast is Asian. It takes place in San Francisco in the 1800s. It's fantastic.
Called Warrior?
It's called Warrior.
Okay.
If you have HBO Max, take a look at it. They actually renewed it for another season. So if you get into it now, you'll get into it just in time for the drop.
All right, nice.
No, okay. So, but
sorry, David. Sorry.
But going back to Jet Li. Going back to Jet Li.
I have one more for later.
It's okay. It's all right. It's okay.
I'll save it. I have a fuck you list.
Save for later. I liked Hero. To me, I like the martial arts epics. There's something about the feel, like back in the day.
Donnie Yen was in that too.
Yes,
he was the spear master.
Yes, I think Hero was one of his finer roles. That was more of
Hero is art.
The traditional style. Yeah,
Hero. You watch Hero. Hero is cinematography art. I mean,
the whole setup, even like the whole like. You get so close to the
Imperial
Emperor.
Army?
You get so close to the Emperor. So close. Yeah. And then even with all of his conviction at the end, it was just like, spoiler alert.
The Imperial Army with fucking arrows? I was like, what the hell? How do you fight that?
Yeah, man. And he's just like, ting, ting, ting.
Yeah.
He's up on the roof. He's like, calligraphy, bitches. Calligraphy. This is how I fight.
Okay, all right. You know what? I was wrong. I did see that one.
You did?
Yeah,
okay.
Where they test him by asking him to write the word sword or dragon or something like that. And, by the brush strokes, they're like, we can see what your strengths are.
Your style is.
Yeah. And I think Broken Sword was one of the guys in there or something like that.
It was Broken Sword might have been the dude that Donnie Yen played. Donnie Yen played a guy with a spear that they fought in the tea house. And they make the guy. They pay the guy to make the guy play more while they fight. And they're fighting in their head, playing out different. That movie's amazing. You haven't seen Hero?
Yeah, that movie's fucking great. I like the fact that before they fight, they're like, we need some theme music. Excuse me, sir. Yeah. He's like, ding, ding, ding. Playing that music.
He's playing this ancient Chinese instrument.
Let's do this shit.
As soon as the string breaks, they kill you. They one of them dies.
Hold.
Yeah, it's so good.
Run it back.
It's so good. But yeah, Jet Li, and what was you like to touch on what you said, Ed, when he said that he was no longer able to do what he could do. He did Fearless. Yeah. That was his last martial arts epic.
Yeah, and that was a fantastic movie
based on a true story. So
yeah.
That's another good movie.
Yeah, based on my life story. It's
it was a
sad one, rough one.
It was a rough go there.
But I had to stop fighting on 30-foot towers in the middle of the courtyard. And,
it's it takes its toll on the knees, man.
Yeah,
it's not easy. If you guys had to pick who contributed the most to the martial arts,
cinematic.
Well, let's say martial arts in its entirety, and let's just say today, like as of today, 2021. What figures would you say? Any figures or anything like that contributed? I mean, you can use Bruce. I mean,
for me, it's Jet Li. I mean Jackie Chan. Sorry,
really?
Yeah, Jackie Chan to me, like with his whole body of work, everything that he's done, his fighting styles, his persona. He even had cartoons.
Yeah, that's right.
He did. Jackie Chan Adventures.
Like so, and I felt like as far as embodying the martial artist spirit, he did all his own stunts. I mean, he worked with Chris Tucker. I mean, God bless him for doing that, because that ego on Chris Tucker, I've heard, is fucking outrageous. Outrageous.
Apparently, that's why there hasn't been more movies.
I know. Rush Hour was great. That was like the buddy cop.
Yeah.
Like
Chris Tucker only did one good thing, and it was Fifth Element.
That was a good movie.
That was great.
Okay.
Call him my man. Come in, Dallas.
Yeah. But Friday, come on. How the hell you gonna go to work and get fired on your day off?
I feel like he played himself. He played himself in Friday.
That's another one where his ego, he wanted more money before doing another one. They're like, cool, you're out. bring another comedian.
And they bring up another comedian. Yeah, and it's a shame because I did actually like him, and especially in the Rush Hour movies, I thought him and Jackie Chan played well. Like, never touch a black man's radio. Like, and then they're dancing together, and he's teaching them the more. I thought it was dope. Even the whole scene where Chris Tucker is fighting with the guy he's ordering the food. At the window.
The best is which one of y'all kicked me. Yeah. He gets kicked like right in the face. He's like, which one of y'all kicked me?
I mean, you know, credit where credit due. Like it was a good series of movies. And Jackie Chan carried the seriousness and even some of the hilarity in there as well. So, like, for me, 100% Jackie Chan. Yeah. What about you?
I mean, we'll put Bruce on a pedestal because without Bruce, martial arts maybe wouldn't have been thrown into. There's even a statue, I think, of Bruce Lee in Hong Kong.
There's actually a statue.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
So he tried. I mean, he did his best to merge.
Probably
the
not
gap.
at Tiananmen Square, but you know.
No, probably definitely not Tiananmen Square.
Jesus Christ!
Oh my God, I like that.
Oh man,
okay, a little busted up. It's in Tiananmen Square. But no, communism joke.
We're no longer searchable in China.
That's right. We just got taken off the waves.
Thanks a lot.
Way to go. Well, we already said Winnie the Pooh in one of the other episodes. So that took us off the list.
Yeah. So, I put Bruce on a pedestal. Okay. I would because of his contribution.
So you're saying outside of Bruce?
Outside of Bruce, I would say the Gracie family. Ooh, I would say the Gracie family just because not only did they adopt a style, they modified it to fit their own. They made it something. They made a style that existed. They took it being taught to them by someone from Japan, made it something their own. And just the whole story of like how Count Koma came from Japan and how if he never would have came to Brazil, it never would have been modified, never would have. And the way the family marketed it, I mean, they created the UFC.
Yep.
They wanted to create like a
whatever controversy you want to say about the UFC in the early fights and all that,
right?
Because there was some fishy stuff, especially if you listen to Ken Shamrock's story, what some of the things they did with his fights. You still can't count out what they did to bring that to everybody, and then what that's done since then.
Sure. What it's grown into.
Everybody's kind of come in with a different style, and you start settling on what really is actually effective.
And if you look at the early days, it was fucking bonkers. I mean, there were guys coming in with like one boxing glove on. Like, there's sumo
guys.
Like guys from fucking Canada with mullets and no teeth. I was like, dude, I fucking love this. Like,
I honestly, I would really love to see a legitimate sumo guy get back in the ring again. Like, and see if they can implement some of that style.
I just see Akebono getting head kicked in Japan by Remy Bonjasky. And I'm like, oh, God. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I would like to. I mean, maybe Hakuho. Yeah. Hakuho could definitely do it.
I mean, the thing is, some of the.
If they put Hakuho in one fighting championships, he would kill someone.
Some of the biggest. Some of the biggest, literal and figurative, sumo wrestlers. They go above a certain weight class. I mean, the only people they're going to be able to fight is like a Brock Lesnar. Yeah. He's the only person that's even remotely close to the weight class.
Brock Lesnar versus Hakuho. That's the fight.
That's what I'm saying. I want to see it, like, because I think it's probably the most underutilized martial arts. I mean, maybe it doesn't work in that setting, but I'd like to see like a master of that fighting style in the ring, trying to see what they could do with it. Because like every now and again, somebody comes by, like what's oh my God, the Oriental guy that brought in like traditional Taekwondo into MMA.
Yeah.
What's his name? Lyoto Machida.
Yeah.
Okay, when Lyoto Machida came in, he brought, like, everybody was fighting almost similar, and then he shook it up.
Well,
like,
his karate style, you couldn't emulate it.
Right.
Who the hell are you going to bring in to spar?
Yeah.
So I thought that was dope. I like when that happens in MMA because then people have to rethink what works.
There's more things we could bring.
It's what we're dealing with now with the Dagestani wrestlers.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
No one has been able to unravel it.
Right.
Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev. It's not the end either. There's a whole gym full of these guys.
Yeah, they brought in a different level of wrestling. Yeah. You know, that jumping in, shooting style with the Taekwondo that's starting to show up now. Yeah, you have that where the ground game is changing now because of everyone from Dagestan. The level of wrestling.
Calf kicks.
That's coming. Oh, yeah.
Calf kicks are changing the game. You can't even take one or two of them now.
Yeah, people that know how to do that now. Ooh, I forget what it's called, the not just the drop ankle, but the actual type of damage where they have to like cut your leg open to
drain the edema,
allow it to swell and drain the blood.
You can have serious damage.
The level of damage
changed it. They changed the whole game.
Like they gotta essentially operate, or you're gonna lose your fucking leg.
Yeah,
from the level of damage. Some of those calf kicks. So like I watch them, and every now and then you see where the third or fourth one where the guy winces, and he's just like, he's gonna have a trip to the hospital after this.
He's going straight.
As soon as you get that one where ooh, you're gonna have a real bad time tomorrow.
All right.
So I'd say the Gracie family, just because they helped us find out what was the most effective.
Okay.
And like to this day, like there's a lot of different styles in MMA. Mm-hmm. Almost everyone trains jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Almost everyone has some kind of like.
You have to at least know how to defend and some submissions.
You have to respect. You have to respect grappling. They showed that it is a aspect that cannot be ignored.
That's cool. All right. What about you, Ed?
And I think under that same vein, where they showed that you can't ignore grappling, you got to say someone like Anderson Silva, who showed you can't sleep on the elbows and the knees.
No, you
can't. Becoming an actual complete striker, the level of difference that can make in keeping away a grappler.
Yeah.
But
so then I would say Chuck Liddell under the same belt then too, because he was the master of getting back to his feet and just putting
Chuck
hands
Liddell,
and feet on people.
Chuck Liddell gets
Chuck's not doing too well right now.
No. Well, I mean, when he was in his fighting prime,
he had
not
a very
him as a person,
brawler style, but
the Mohawk should have gave it.
He actually trained in an older form of jiu-jitsu that was much more, that still had the standing striking in it. So he did actually have groundwork.
Right.
But what he figured was, I can brawl. I'm going to use my groundwork as just to get away. Sure. My job is just to stay away and force you to fight my game.
Your strengths. Yeah.
Stand up and have a dog
fight. He's also like an Ed Parker's Kempo guy, and you never see that anymore. I mean, hell.
Yeah.
I mean, his foundation was like Kempo karate. I mean, that's like the last of like the golden age of like. I think George St. Pierre's foundation style was Kyokushin karate.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of guys that came from like traditional backgrounds.
Sure.
I mean, obviously Ronda, judo.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I think it builds a specific style of skill, or it builds your skill sets. So you're trainable, you're teachable, like you have your dedication, you're in there learning. So it's like, okay, now you can learn other things and grow your game. And I think that's where either people succeed or they fail in mixed martial arts. Because, like, look at Ben Askren, right? Yeah. You can't take away from the guy's legitimacy for wrestling.
Yeah, if he gets his hands on you, you're going to have a problem.
But the problem is you still got to get your hands on some people.
Yeah.
And when you're fighting at that level, these guys are proficient in striking, and you can't always close the distance with one kind of an attack.
Yeah, you can't get away with having just a single game anymore.
No.
At any point in time, if you only have one, the other person, that's it. They know it. And you're going to hit a training camp, and you're going to train just to get to your spot, and then that's it. And then you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that Ben didn't really pay attention in striking class. He didn't give a shit.
Yeah, he was that kid in the back of the room like, I'll just wrestle him.
I'll just wrestle the shit out of him.
But I mean, it's hard to disagree with that aspect of how he did it, because it worked for so long, and he got away with it for so long.
You look at Khabib. I mean, Khabib is, maybe one of the best examples of wrestling applied in MMA in recent years that we can think of. He can still strike. Mm-hmm. He dropped Conor McGregor. I mean, he can still punch his way in.
Yeah.
Ben couldn't do that. They knew he had pillow hands, and that's why
Yeah.
When he took that boxing match, I just went, shit.
I think
how can you win?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know how much he suffered from that knee when he shot in, but I think that was probably when he should have.
That was his wake up call.
Yeah.
That should have been his.
That should have been either I'm done,
I think I'll get off
or
this
I need to 100% focus on my stand up.
But the payday, you can't ignore the payday.
No, you can't.
Right? Because he figured, I got one
more. He should have moved to Thailand and just like got in a Muay Thai camp and was like, all right.
Some people can't. Some people, they get good in one and they don't want to go back to zero and be at the bottom of the pecking order and have to work their way up.
Because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
You see that in jiu-jitsu all the time. People are like, I got a black belt and blah, 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 blah. And then they have to come to the mat. And it's like, well, it's a different game here. You're not going to have to do that.
Right.
And then they realize they're at the bottom.
Of the black belt level now.
And now it's like they don't really, either they can put the ego away or they disappear. And more often than not, they disappear.
Sure. All right, so let's bring it back to cinematic movies here. You know, comedy, martial arts films. Okay? So, Ian, I'll let you start with this one. If you had to pick a martial art comedy,
for me, it's easy. For me, it's gonna be Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah,
without a doubt. Kurt Russell. I can't think. Oh my god, I can't think of the guy's name, but he literally played like Poe's dad in Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah,
he was the dog. Like he plays Lo Pan.
Yes.
He's in everything. I'm trying to think of what. I can't think.
I don't know his name either, but yes, I can picture his face.
Mr. Miyagi, not Mr. Miyagi.
No, definitely not Mr. Miyagi.
No, not Mr.
Wax
Miyagi.
on, wax off?
There's another guy that plays like a wizard in the movie, the Good Wizard, that owns a restaurant. I'm trying to think. He's in a lot of shit. He's the grandpa in Three Ninjas.
Okay, yes.
The grandpa in Three Ninjas is in it. Like it's fucking so good. And I think it's John Carpenter.
Yeah, and a unique movie too.
Oh
right?
my god, yeah.
Yes.
Jack Burton is played by Kurt Russell.
Yes.
Just like
the
truck driver with a gun. Like just the most ignorant white, like dude, just driving a truck into Chinatown. Like just,
on
just
paper.
women on his mind and money, and like he just goes into this realm in San Francisco, Chinatown of magic and demons, and it's just like the whole movie is like a giant what the fuck.
Yeah,
like,
on paper it should have failed, but the cast pulled that shit together, and it was great.
His jeans tucked into his fucking work boots should have ruined that whole goddamn movie. But you have to see it.
Yeah. It's definitely a cult classic. Definitely worth the watch, especially if you're into martial arts or comedy or just weird fucking movies. It fits the bill, and it's just it's great.
Just due to my childhood and how many hundreds of times I've seen that, that's my pick for martial arts comedy, without a doubt.
All right, for me, I'm gonna pick Beverly Hills Ninja. You know, at the time, Chris Farley's
rest in peace, Chris.
His body comedy. I don't know what you
his
physical comedy was off the charts. I think, and he was just so funny. Like he brought it to like a traditional style. He's like, oh, I want to be the best, and he was just the worst at everything he tried. But it was almost like Naked Gun. He was so bad, or that he was good. You know, like For me, it was Beverly Hills Ninja. A lot of funny scenes in that movie. I enjoyed it.
That is a really
I believe Chris Rock was in it too, right? He played the bellhop.
Shit.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, and then he becomes his like apprentice, I believe, in like Beverly Hills Ninja too.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
Yeah,
but
you rewatch that one.
Now, when I think martial arts and comedy, it always falls on Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
and I don't want to pick Legend of Drunken Master again.
He's got a couple. He's got Shanghai,
but
Nights.
Yeah, he does.
Right? Shanghai Noon, Rush Hours. Like,
I think I'll go with the first one that at least I believe came to America, which was Rumble in the Bronx.
Rumble in the Bronx.
Because they went backwards to other movies that he did and started bringing them in.
Good.
But he was the first time you had that very physical comedy, but blended it in with the martial arts the way he was doing it. And I don't think there's anyone that does it
quite
the way
like he
does.
There's never been anyone that's
There's other martial arts movies, but no one has the way he manipulates the room into the whole scene.
Yeah.
The way
Jackie
that he
Chan
does.
is actually in Enter the Dragon.
Yes.
Nice.
He's a stuntman that gets killed by Bruce Lee in the one scene.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
Bruce Lee breaks his neck in the one scene.
Yeah, he's been
Imagine
around.
like you're Jackie Chan and you're like, all right, you're out of here. Get out of here.
Really, no. He's a guy in a white gi. He comes in, throws a punch.
Yeah.
Bruce blocks it, grabs him behind his hair, and snaps his fucking neck. And I was like,
awesome.
oh shit. Like, I was like, there goes Jackie.
That's fucking great. I know he kicked the shit out of people with a refrigerator in Rumble in the Bronx, right?
I mean, you
And
forget
he hit people with the ladder. He flipped that ladder around, was smacking people in the mouth.
you forget how long Jackie Chan has been around, but even the same thing with Chuck Norris. He was all the way back in the Bruce Lee movies as well.
I believe
Chuck Norris goes in the legends category.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, there's so much mythology around him.
And he was a legitimate, again, martial artist, accomplished fighter.
Yeah.
I believe it was Way of the Dragon, right?
Yeah, the fight scene with Bruce and him.
Yes.
In the Coliseum, that's Way of the Dragon. Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck the cat was for, but it was still fucking great. It didn't matter. Like,
oh man,
they could do no wrong.
I think they symbolized like a cat playing with something.
Okay, yeah.
Like that Bruce Lee was kind of just.
It's been so long since I've seen it, but it's still it's one of those.
When he rips out Chuck's chest hair and blows it, you know it's over.
Oh man, it was so good.
You can't have a man rip his chest hair out. That's dead. That man has to die that day. He has to die that day.
No, for sure. There's no forgiving the chest hair.
There ain't no hugging afterwards. I'm Deontay Wilder in this one.
That's right.
I don't respect you. I don't respect you.
For all the Chuck Norris jokes and memes, I don't think anyone points out the redhead.
Yeah.
Like, nobody even bothers, like...
No, they don't.
...saying anything about, like...
You don't want to risk offending him.
You can tell he's a definite redhead.
Oh, yeah.
In that movie, he's full glory.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Ain't blonde at all.
You know what it was? Is because for so long, he was Texas Ranger. So he had that 10-gallon hat. Can't really see, and it never comes off. He's got the big ass belt buckle.
Everybody always says brown. It's definitely brown.
That's right. Yeah, he's taking off them spurs like ninja stars.
Didn't he fight? He fought Macho Man Randy Savage in Texas Ranger. He did.
Did he?
There's an episode.
So good.
Oh man,
I have not seen that. I have to go back and watch it. And I've seen quite a bit of that show.
I've seen so many of them. I'm surprised I don't remember that.
Yeah, he definitely did. Let me see that. I know he fought Randy Savage in one of those. Watch, I'm gonna get corrected here.
Was he in any other major movies though, Chuck Norris, as far as fighting in martial arts?
He had some good ones, like the Octagon. It was like a ninja movie that he was in. He was also in what's the one where he's like it's in Vietnam. Oh my god, Missing in Action.
Okay,
yeah,
he
had a steady
series of good movies that he was in.
Because he even portrayed military and things like that as well, just like back in the 80s and 90s, like what Arnold did and everybody else. Right. He was along that same
action hero
vein of action hero kind of deal. So he didn't always stick into the martial arts movies. He started moving into more, American style.
Yeah, because for me it was
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Walker, Texas Ranger. Oh yeah, that was his biggest role. Like, and
if he wasn't,
I enjoyed it.
I mean, he was a household name, but that put him in everybody's living room.
Yeah, they're redoing the Walker Texas Ranger with the guy from Supernatural. I haven't watched a single episode. I fucking refuse.
Without Chuck Norris, you can't.
I had seen the first episode. I didn't get a chance to go back and watch more. I mean, they started off with spoilers. They started off with murdering his wife and like depression and shit like that. I'm like,
great way to get everyone hooked.
This is not fun, guys. This is not
great way to get us hooked. We like this.
Yeah. You hate to be suckered into that shit.
Dead wife, not enough roundhouse kicks. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you should really start the first episode, first scene, roundhouse kick.
Yeah.
I'm in.
It's like, if you want him to get with his partner, you don't got to start with killing off the wife. Just don't fucking have her as a character.
Yeah, right.
Nope. She has to die horribly and haunt his dreams for the remainder of the season.
All right, now I'm gonna have to look this up here because one of the main guys, like when we were younger and we started watching martial arts films, it was the 36 Chambers, and his name was Gordon Liu. And I had to look it up because I'm like, I can't believe he's not a household name, but he was the main character in all those.
He was in Way of the Dragon too. He played an asshole.
Yeah,
asshole like underling, mid boss. Like he's good at it.
Yeah, and those movies, they influence like the Wu-Tang Clan, a lot of hip hop music as a whole. But those films were great, and like there was no CGI. The fight scenes, the choreographing of the fight scenes in there were also really good. They
had a handful of tricks, either speeding up or slowing down the camera, or their little tricks with like a harness and a rope to make people move ever so slightly more than you could in real life.
Sure.
But not so much where you're like, maybe he can because he's a master.
Yeah. But there was always an underlying undertone in a lot of the martial arts movies of someone always trying to come and take over.
Yeah.
And your martial arts was what you used to defend your people, defend your town, defend your school.
Yep.
It was about oppression.
Yep.
Yeah. There was a lot of oppression that they were fighting off, whether it was the Japanese and the Chinese or the Westerners.
And there was always rules that everybody followed, win or lose. So it wasn't even like you won and then the person didn't follow through. It was like, no, you won, that's it. He leaves town and everybody follows. Yes. These are the rules.
There was a respect. Like, we're gonna fight, we're gonna fuck each other up, and potentially one of us is gonna die. But hey, these are the rules that are set in place. Man on man, mano y mano. Sometimes woman on woman. Not man on man. Man against man.
I got it.
Yeah. But that's how it was. Yeah, my wushu is better than your wushu. You know what I mean? Like, what about you, Ian? What you got there?
No.
You're looking down at your list like you got something else to
bring up. I know you wanted to shit on somebody. There was somebody you were holding.
There's one person I have to shit on, but
there's one more.
I'm not gonna. You want me to shit on him now?
Shit on him now. Let's do it. Let's do it right now.
All right, I'm gonna shit on you, Frank Dukes. All right, Frank Dukes, the person that Jean-Claude Van Damme portrays in Bloodsport. Okay, at the end of the movie, they play this whole fucking thing, like
right.
fastest KO and all this nonsense. Frank Dukes was a dude that pitched a script to this Hollywood studio, and they decided to do the movie. It never happened. He never fought in an underground fucking Kumite. The Black Dragon Clan.
What? Someone in Hollywood lied?
The Black Dragon Clan, a literal group of people in China, came out and said, we have no fucking record of this guy. We don't know who the hell Frank Dukes is. Then he changed his story. He said it happened in the Bahamas. So now we're not even in Hong Kong.
Yo, that's some shit. When the shady underground fight scene was like, hold on. No.
Yeah.
How dare you say you won our tournament that clearly doesn't exist? We don't know this man.
No.
In that tournament, clearly it doesn't exist.
Yes, and
because that would be illegal. But we don't know this man.
Frank Dukes is full of shit. And he's still alive. Frank Dukes is still alive. So fuck you, Frank. This is another one.
Wait, are you challenging Frank Dukes?
I'm also challenging Frank Dukes. Hold on, I'll get to that. This motherfucker, this guy sued Jean-Claude Van Damme. He sued Jean-Claude Van Damme saying that he was entitled to more royalties from Bloodsport and he should have had a bigger role. He lost, of course.
Makes sense.
He's made up stories saying he has worked with the CIA. He used to be like a fucking,
like a hitman. Yeah,
he said
martial arts hitman.
He said he was a SEAL team trainer. No, like the SEALs have their own trainers. Like we don't need you, Frank. He wears sunglasses during interviews. That right there.
Shady as fuck.
Oh, he should be beaten.
You can't trust people that wear sunglasses indoors.
Only Bono from U2 gets away with that.
Two types of people wear sunglasses indoors. Blind people and assholes. That's it. That's fucking it. Okay? And that rules it out. I'm pretty sure he can see. If he won the Kumite, he can fucking see.
And Bono clearly falls under those rules. Sorry to...
Basically...
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Look this guy up. He's a pathological liar. He's literally the high priest of bullshido. So, yes, this is another one. Ian Banks of Florida. I'm challenging you, Frank Dukes, to a fight. And when I looked at this guy...
That's 2-1.
I'll fight Steven Seagal and Frank Dukes the same fucking night. Listen, this guy... No. I looked up a picture of Frank Dukes. You can actually find one, okay?
Oh my
this
God.
dude, at his heyday, in his prime, when he won the Kumite, had a fucking bright blonde bowl cut and a porn stash from the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
I would beat the shit out of Frank Dukes. I am sorry. No. We're doing it. We're doing it. The challenge is out.
Eddie, do you have anybody you want to call out to since we're calling people out? I mean, I challenged the guy from Blue's Clues. Steve?
You want to fight Steve?
How dare you leave with such a short notice and then come back like it's okay?
You ruined my childhood.
Yeah. It hurts, Steve. It still hurts.
The wound is still fresh.
Blue died because you weren't feeding him, Steve. He had special formula he needed.
Oh, man.
Jesus God. Okay, so you're fighting Steve. I'm fighting Seagal and Frank Dukes.
Nice.
Nelson?
I'm the manager.
There's nobody you want to call out.
No. I don't. I'm a man of peace.
Okay. All right. Shit.
I'm
okay.
all
that's
zen
fine.
and
that's
shit.
Fine. That's fine. You're allowed to take the Buddhist path.
All right.
Suggestion that doesn't involve violence.
That's all Nelson.
Yeah.
That's all Nelson.
All right. So if you guys had to pick one movie that would be your favorite martial arts movie that you would pass on to somebody that's never seen a martial arts movie, right? And you want to be like, this is where I would start. This is the movie that I think would lead you into going down a rabbit hole of finding other martial arts movies. Yeah. What movie would you go with, Ian?
That's hard to pick, especially with the way times are changing. But I'm still going to go with the classic. I'm going to go with Enter the Dragon. The reason I'm going with Enter the Dragon is it's got everything. It's got the larger-than-life hero. And I'm going to go with Bruce Lee's performance because he was the first time like an Asian man took that much of a lead in a Hollywood-produced movie. It's got the island. It's got the dickhead bad guy with a blade hand, claw hand. It's got a tournament. It's got these ridiculous characters, a guy, black dude with an afro, just kicking the shit out of people. It's a fantastic movie.
It is almost a real life anime.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the tournament arc portion of an anime.
It set the tone for almost every martial arts film afterwards.
I would say so. And that would be like probably in our childhood, like Bruce Lee movies were the ones that brought us into all the other movies, right?
I mean, the whole getting hit with the claw hand and then just being like,
all right, okay,
tasting the blood. Oh, dude, come on.
That's a fantastic pick. That's a fantastic pick. Eddie, what about you?
Ooh. Does
Three Ninjas does not count. If you fucking say Three Ninjas, you could go outside.
Does John Wick count as a martial arts movie? There's martial arts in it, but man, it's a lot of shooting, motherfucker.
Nelson, for bonus points, name the Three Ninjas.
Oh, yeah. Todd, Barry, and Chuck. Next question, please. I don't remember their fucking names.
Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum.
Oh, my God. Oh, you know what? I won't lie. After that movie, me and my brother were going to flea markets looking for those masks.
Actually, one of the worst ass beatings I ever took as a child was after I watched that movie.
Because you wanted to fight.
I took my plastic sword and went over to my grandfather's yard and broke every one of his white fences in his garden.
Oh,
every one of them. He had little fences that were all around his plants, and me and my brother whenever I broke them all. I got some Three Ninjas when I got home.
That's an ass whooping that's well deserved. Me and my brother got a couple of those from watching Bruce Lee movies where we're fighting each other in the living room, and in comes my mom, and she you know what, she is a martial artist who has never trained a day in her life, but with the art of the just like whatever's in her hand, chancleta, spatula, phone. You remember those old school phones, like they were like bricks? She would walk in the room and like not even skip a beat on the conversation, like, yeah, hold on a second, Martha, bing bing, just I'm down, he's down. So like I was saying,
with the phone.
Oh yeah,
put you down with the phone,
ninja style.
You know what movie has a scene that I always enjoyed? It's Jet Li Unleashed. Ooh. That hallway bathroom scene.
Yes,
I think that's a movie worth passing down. Just that scene is so ridiculous. It's so close, and it's just like right here with the fucking elbow.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
so fucking sick.
It's so claustrophobic, and they're managing to get so much actually done in that tight little space.
Okay, all right, that's a fantastic one.
I agree with that. That's raw.
I'm gonna go with more of a classical Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I loved that movie. I thought it was cinematically just beautiful to watch.
That's the first use of like the wires that I can think of.
Yeah.
Everybody started copying that after that movie.
For like for a Western audience.
Yeah. And
that's a good key thing because a lot of these for Western audiences were firsts.
Yeah. So. And they were being done forever everywhere else. It was the first time those types of things were being brought here to a completely different.
But not only that, like it wasn't only male lead fighters.
Yes,
the women that were fighting in that movie were incredible.
Wasn't the name of the sword was what? Green Destiny.
Yeah, the Sword of Destiny.
Okay.
Right. It was the Sword of Destiny.
Got to take your word for it.
I believe so. Anyway, I'll check later, but. I will say this. Yeah, I would definitely check that. Yeah, check that shit out. When you the whole story arc was fantastic. The fight scenes were unreal. Like I felt like I didn't mind subtitles either. Yeah. That's how I knew I liked the movie because I fucking hate subtitles. But you need to be enveloped in the whole movie itself. That's the only way to do it. So I would go with Destiny. It is the Green Destiny. So like I said,
good job,
the Green Destiny
He's so hurt when his brother was here that he now has to
yeah.
pick up the
He
phone and
has
check.
taken
I'm
the role,
spirit
the
of Shay.
mantle,
I have
the mantle.
fact checking dickhead.
You know, to this
Congratulations,
day,
Shay. You have permanently hurt him.
yes, to this day, he still fact checks.
Yes,
On
the
Instagram,
ones-
and I love it.
yes.
I enjoy it. I'll be like, by the way, that's an Omega level mutant.
Oh yeah, Shay and his Iceman fetish.
Iceman.
Shay's in a bathtub full of ice cubes
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now. Oh, he's some mega
Yeah,
level.
yeah. He'll be like, on episode 3, 15 minutes in, Eddie made a statement, and it's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. So you guys should retract that
Yeah,
statement.
do the whole episode over. No, Shay.
Yeah, no, it's great. We love it. We love you, Shay.
If you do go by how they say Iceman's powers work, it's absolutely absurd. He could essentially destroy the planet if he wanted to.
Yeah, because water isn't like in everything. So
Yeah,
the
but-
atmosphere. It's
That's not true because the squirrel in Ice Age would fucking survive.
somehow that little
No,
fucker would make it.
it's the way that they use physics to explain how his powers would create the ice. It's
Essentially
absurd.
like Iron Man, right? I mean, what would he do in the desert?
Well, it doesn't matter. He pulls the moisture out of the air.
Fuck him. He's gonna have to do a lot of pulling.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is one punch in the
Lot of
face,
pulling.
Iceman's going down.
Lot of pulling.
He's like, I'm going for the moisture.
We can do some shout out to some legendary martial arts figures.
All right,
too.
go for
I
it,
can
go
definitely
for
do
it.
that. I want to do an honorable mention. Mas Oyama. A lot of people don't know him.
I don't.
He is the founder of Kyokushin Karate
Okay.
in Japan. Really large, powerful dude.
Nice.
He is who they modeled the character Ryu in Street Fighter over.
Ah, all right.
He's the
nice.
archetype for it, and he actually has how there's a lot of embellishment in martial arts.
Sure.
Yeah.
But there actually is documentation of him knocking a bull unconscious, and where they punch.
Holy
Where they
shit.
punch. He's knocked the bull unconscious, and this is a lifelong martial artist. He founded the actual. Kyokushin Karate. For people that don't know, that's the actual sparring karate where they stand there bare knuckle and hit each other in the body. Any kind of punches to the body are legal. Only kicks to the head are legal.
Yeah.
So you can't punch someone in the face, but you can spinning axe kick them in the face.
Makes sense.
Of course.
Makes
I mean,
sense.
yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
so he not only knocked a bull unconscious, he snapped the bull's horn off with his hands.
Fuck.
Jesus.
So anyone
That's a
anyone
wild
at home,
man.
go ahead and fact check. Look up
Okay.
Mas Oyama. This is a real dude.
So
Horrifying human being.
So we got Dagestani's wrestling bears,
Japanese karate.
Japanese karate.
Japanese karate at the source. I also want to do a shout out to Dr. Jigoro Kano, who is the founder of judo.
Love the name, by
And
the way.
without
That's a
Yes.
fantastic
That's a name.
name.
I was giving him respect because he is a doctor. So
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
no, that sounds like a comic book
Yeah.
character.
No,
Yeah,
he
man, I'm in.
founded judo. And without judo, we have to, as us being jujitsu
Mm-hmm.
practitioners, without judo, there would be no jujitsu.
Correct.
Because
Right.
jujitsu stemmed from it.
Nice.
And he was a big component for education.
Okay.
Actually getting people out there and actually trying to teach people. He actually did a presentation for President Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh
So
shit.
this is like right post Civil War.
Yeah.
So he was out there doing stuff, and he was he's a big advocate for martial arts. I think he goes unrecognized a lot because of how much he contributed to martial arts as a whole.
Sure.
And my final shout out just wants to be to Helio Gracie.
Yep.
You could shout out to a shit ton of the Gracie families, as I
Yeah.
said earlier, them influencing.
Yeah.
But Helio, like Carlos, was bigger and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So when Count Koma showed him stuff, he would just do traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu. He's
Sure.
like, this hold works for me.
Yeah.
This throw works for me. Helio, being a smaller, sickly guy, he had to modify it.
You got to
And
learn actual leverage.
and Helio was the guy who modified and twisted things for someone to use their whole body against one part of a human's body. Helio is who you could directly credit
So it's out
for
of necessity.
creating Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu out of necessity.
That is awesome, man.
And Helio actually had a fight with Masahiko Kimura, who was my godfather.
I was gonna say.
The man
I was
that
gonna say the
created-
Kimura. Oh, wait a
man-
second.
familiar name. I've heard that one before.
the man that created the Kimura line, Masahiko Kimura. He was a judo master in Japan. He actually challenged Helio to a fight that ended, I believe, in a stalemate. Helio was losing. They did say Helio was losing.
Yeah.
But Helio earned the respect of the entire Japanese community by actually going to Japan to do this fight with Masahiko Kimura and proving Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's
That's a different set of cojones when you go into.
Oh, he was outweighed by 50.
Enemy territory, and nobody wants you to win.
He
right?
he was outweighed by 50 pounds in a gi against a 10th Dan black belt judo master. And if you see a picture of Masahiko Kimura,
that's pretty sweet.
You can have all that. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
look at.
I'll fight Steven Seagal and Frank Dudes. I ain't touching Masahiko Kimura. I ain't going anywhere near him.
Pop onto YouTube and look at some judo highlights if you're curious about what it looks like.
Yeah.
But some of them throws and them falls are not.
Yeah.
They're not.
I mean,
very-
like,
if you want to fucking know who the guy in the room in the jiu-jitsu room who did judo was, look at the guy in the corner with the cauliflower ears, broken fingers, and the dude that's fucking
just
drooling
stand there like this.
He's like just looking across the mat. He's like,
Fucking Edward Scissorhands in the corner.
Can we start standing? No, we fucking can't. I'm on my knees. No, we cannot start standing.
All right, and
Don't touch me. Don't fucking
we
touch
did a seminar at Excel, and Andy was there with me, and he was my training partner for the day, and it was like a 2-hour judo seminar.
me. You did not throw Andy.
Oh yeah, we did. We threw each other all over the place. Because they taught us with the technique how easy and graceful it was. It was a lot of sweeps we were doing that day. A lot of hip tosses. Nothing really over the shoulder. Andy's like 700 pounds, and that's just his head. Shout out to Andy. By the end of the 2-hour seminar, and we're going in, we were looking at each other like, does your body hurt? I'm like, everything in my fucking body hurts.
Yeah, judo.
It was no joke. It was a great class.
Yeah.
It really was.
It's rough though.
If you look
It
at
is. It's rough on the body
Your
because
grips,
it's like boom, down, boom, down.
If you look at the way judo is taught in Japan, it's much like sumo. They start as children, and it's actually part of their school curriculum, like the way we have sports here.
Sure.
So the people that make it to the Olympics, they've been doing it since like 4 or 5 years old, every day. So they've beaten their body into being accustomed to that. So it's not a surprise that when you're like, man, this hurts after like 2 hours. Yeah, because the people that really are deep into it were doing it since they were children. Sure. Same thing with wrestling. You look at like Dagestan, they've been doing it since they were children.
Yeah.
So like, why doesn't the U.S. adapt this into their school curriculums? I think it's a fantastic thing.
Because we do football.
Right, yeah. But I would think like
some of the wrestlers are good, and it shows up. Like you get a guy like a Dake or Jordan Burroughs. You get these guys that are like ridiculous level, and they actually apply it later on.
Yeah, I think some of it's we have a wider choice in sports, and we have a wider choice of personal freedom.
Right.
You're looking at Japan, they have a handful of their traditional sports, and they have a very traditional way they even approach society.
Sure.
So when that happens, you get a lot of people that just kind of, they follow the flow of the way things are. That's part of the way they respect their elders. So they respect tradition, and part of tradition was the people that went into these sports, you started as a child. They're not in there doing, I mean, they have baseball, but they don't have baseball and basketball and football and wrestling. And,
right.
I mean, you look at the list of clubs you have in an American school, you got like a dozen sports. Yeah, so many sports.
Let me tell
that
you,
it's
there's
like,
a bunch of them that can get the fuck out of there too, right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? That they can
There's
replace
always that one
with
cheerleader.
better.
There's always that one
Yeah,
cheerleader.
get the fuck out of
Like,
here.
what the fuck's she doing there? Come on.
Except, you know what? I say bring dodgeball back. They took it out of schools because kids are soft, and they're like, oh, everybody should win, It shouldn't be just
Dodgeball was like
If dodgeball
separated
in
the
gym
weak
class.
if
from the
dodgeball,
strong.
I bet.
Man.
I was a great at dodgeball too. I loved it.
I bet if dodgeball becomes a sport, it'll be back in schools, because we all know the dangers of basketball and baseball and football, and it's completely accepted that there's certain damage you're going to have to your body. If dodgeball becomes a sport where at the end of the day you can make a legitimate living off of, they'll allow it back in schools.
I'll watch it.
I would.
But just like I was saying with these Japan and the way people kind of as a children go into these sports, we're starting to get that with football now, where football is kind of the big sport in America, and there's many places where they start at Pee-wee, they start at 4 or 5 years old, and those are that's starting to become something that we're doing here as well, where at a very young age, going into these sports and the ideas. Hopefully, they grow up into the sport.
I wish I could buy stock in CTE.
Yeah. My stock in CTE. It would be lucrative.
It would be lucrative.
All right, so we did it in reverse, but I think let's end the podcast just discussing really quickly the trailers that we've seen today.
All right. We can touch on them. We can touch on them.
I say we touch on this real quick. Eddie, no, don't do it.
No,
don't do it.
I was just checking.
I said touch on it. He got excited. He was like, touch on what? What are we touching on? No, that's why I said over here.
There's two of them. There's 2 trailers. Or should we do 3 trailers?
There was a bunch of trailers that dropped this recent week.
So let's start with the Batman trailer. We'll pick one each.
And we'll just touch on it.
Yeah. Well, you don't touch on it. So the Batman trailer, I will be the first to say that I was skeptical for the casting from the Twilight Kid. And I didn't think it was going to be a good fit. I didn't like the fact that he wasn't trying to work out and get in shape for the role and all that stuff. Yeah, Diggory do. And I seen the trailer today, and I have to say I'll take it all back.
Yep.
It looks great.
Looks dark.
Looks dark. I like the casting.
It's really dark.
Yep.
I think that they could really nail it and bring a legitimate Batman back into the franchise. I like what they're doing. I like Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. And there are a couple of surprises for who they're bringing in as the Joker and the Riddler. It looks like is going to be one of the other main villains in there. And I'm actually excited to see what they're going to do with the Batman as a franchise with him.
I know he worked pretty hard to get away from sparkly vampire Twilight world. He went and did a bunch of movies outside of what Hollywood really wanted him to do, just to be like, look, I can do other shit. And actually, I believe it was a bunch of those other movie roles, which they ended up not being like big theatrical releases. They were more indie movies, but it was what he did in those roles where they were like, we think he can play Batman in the way that we're looking to for this movie.
And what if Batman starts sparkling?
I'm out. I give up on DC as a whole.
What if 2 hours into the movie, mid fight with the Riddler, he just starts to sparkle, and then he bites the Riddler's neck?
Or the Riddler sends him like a glitter bomb. Gotcha, bitch. You're sparkling again.
You know what? I would love if they hit him with a fucking glitter bomb and just have him sparkle for a couple seconds in the movie. That would be fantastic.
I'll stand up and applaud.
But then you got to do like the obligatory like stare at the camera like, I don't know, I did this shit. You know what I mean? Like The Office, like he's just, I don't know.
I tried DC.
I'm out.
There was another DC. There was another DC trailer. There's actually 3 DC trailers.
There's multiple.
But there was the other DC trailer we want to touch on is the Black Adam.
Yes.
The Black Adam trailer with The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson as Black Adam. It looks like they're building it up, and they got Pierce Brosnan, former Bond, GoldenEye, coming in as Dr. Fate. Ooh, they have a lot of people on board, and the CG and the stuff behind the scenes looks fantastic. It looks like they're really going in. DC is trying to make a run and compete with Marvel. And Marvel's doing great with the Shang-Chi and the Eternals coming down the pipe. I mean, Marvel's just firing out grade A after grade A. DC's at least trying. DC's not going down without a fight. After Justice League, the Snyder Cut, they kind of resurged. And they were like, all right, we're not getting
even the Suicide Squad was great.
The only thing is DC keeps saying that they're not that essentially the Snyder Cut is not canon. They're not going to continue with that.
Well, they can fuck off.
Because everyone's like, no, give us that world. Continue with that world.
Yeah, because that turned a pile of shit movie into something I literally watched for 4 hours and wanted more.
Especially at the end, right? Like the future where the Joker's working with Batman. I was like, oh, bring it back. I was almost like, you know what? Okay, I forgive what they did. Let's see what can happen with that.
But they've been really building up a lot around the Flash movie and the Flashpoint. And
I'm not that excited about the Flash movie after seeing his fucking outfit on set. I mean, I'm sorry.
It's his outfit when he's not in the red suit.
When the fuck did we resurrect John Lennon and get him to play the Flash? I'm blown away.
He was wearing a dog collar.
Well, I thought when John Lennon got reincarnated, he would want to see his kids. He might want to see how Paul McCartney's doing. No, he just does the Flash movie. That was weird. I don't know, man. I'm weirded out by that.
It is a.
So was I. I was like, what the fuck is this? He's like, and guys, here's a movie with me in it.
I'm like, who the fuck lets you do this behind the scenes trailer?
Ezra Miller, just don't talk if you're not in the Flash costume.
Jesus,
it's a big reset button, and if they want to steer more into the Snyder cut, that's going to be their chance to do it.
Right.
So they could be denying and saying no and no and no, and then they drop the movie. Right. And then make everybody happy by just steering right into the fucking Snyder.
Why not play into what people like, right? We're the ones paying to see the shit. Like, get off your high horse.
If you have a chance at all, DC, it's the fans.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the only thing that's going to save your
And as a matter of fact, they just posted the other day that Henry Cavill,
a.k.a. Daddy.
Mr. Cavill is going to be recast as Superman. He agreed to it, so he's coming back.
Boom. Yeah. Geralt of Rivia and Superman. How?
He wanted
He's a killer.
He wanted to keep portraying the role, so it's not a big.
He just didn't
surprise.
want to do it
with
in
that
a
chin though.
way.
With that chin, it's kind of hard to recast it. Like, what are you gonna do?
Well, he
Nicolas Cage.
He wanted to lean into.
I would watch that.
He wanted to kind of give the next movie almost a bit of a redemption for Superman and kind of use the whole next movie as to kind of redeem and fix the mistakes of the character as they've done it building up into
and that
now.
CG mustache.
I know that was one of the big things for him because he did an interview out there and he actually put out some story points of what he would want to do in the next Superman movie, and I completely agreed with it.
Yeah.
But he's the type of person where he's very deep into the characters that he plays. He is, for his size, the biggest nerd on Earth. Yeah. He's the dude that builds his own computer and spends hours playing World of Warcraft and apparently...
Big Henry Cavill.
Wait a second. What about the dude that was cast to play Deathstroke? Who has a dungeon master basement?
Yes.
Okay, he's in contention.
He is. He's the dude. He's that big dude from like Magic Mike. What's his name? He was a werewolf and something else.
How am I drawing
was
his name?
Was it True Blood?
Yes, he was in True Blood
as well. Yeah.
Look him up, somebody. What's going on here? What's his name?
I'm sorry, I can't think of anything.
Bearded man.
Yeah, he's
married to that super hot Spanish chick.
Yes.
He built an entire.
It's not Sofia Vergara, is it?
Yes, it's Sofia Vergara.
Yes.
He built an entire D&D dungeon to play the game.
And you know he's got Sofia Vergara.
He does the Hollywood.
Oh, you know what? I'll look it up. Ed,
I cast my penis spell.
What the fuck?
Penis +3.
And then he rolls.
Joe Manganiello.
Yes. He's another huge nerd. So he tried to bring back the D20 system, I believe. Or didn't he create his own system for Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, Dungeons and Dragons keeps updating the rules, so they tried to simplify it
like,
by...
what's a D20? Why do they have a system?
By moving... everything to just a single D20 and removing all of the other dice from
We're losing Ian. Stat. All right, so what's your trailer choice today?
Fear the Gorgon.
I gotta go with Peacemaker. John Cena looks perfect for that role.
Yes.
I was excited it was a show.
It was hilarious.
Yes,
the trailer is fucking hilarious.
It looks funny.
And it looks like he's really taken what he did in the movie and he's putting it on the screen again. And I don't know how many episodes. It's supposed to be a miniseries.
And the cast looks good, right? The supporting cast seems funny.
It looks solid. I mean, if the trailer does justice for what the show is actually going to be, I know it's already filmed because the way they had to do it, it was like they finished the movie and the director was like, if we're going to do a show,
let's do it.
We got to do it now because I got something else I got to do after this. So he was like, all right, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah. Well, John Cena needs to stop working out because he's absolutely enormous.
He's gonna explode.
His forearms are as big as people's thighs.
Yeah.
Like the dude has done so many steroids. His fucking fingers are big. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like,
he
stop.
is a massive man.
Yeah. I think Ian looked particularly excited when he was dancing in his underwear.
Yeah.
I couldn't contain myself. I literally. I started to make like guttural animal noises.
And on that note. Cue the music. Edward hit the button. Send us out. He couldn't stop laughing long enough to hit the fucking button.
I had to switch to the other bank of options.
I'm gonna enjoy Matt Hilton's guitar playing for a while.
Yeah, man. And thank you for that, Matt. You know, and we know you like John Cena's underwear too.
He's right there with me.
Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Sofa Kingdom podcast, and you can find us on all your social media platforms at
Sofa Kingdom OFC.
And you can find us on YouTube at
Sofa Kingdom Podcast. And if you search almost every major podcast player, Sofa Kingdom Podcast will pop up also.
Awesome. Check us out, subscribe, like, listen to us, share us, please. Little effort on your part makes a big difference on our part.
Yeah. Right. Notification bell and all that other nonsense.
I'm living in my car.
Good shit, guys. Good shit.